Hello, lovely people. How are you all doing? I hope this finds you well. Today, on February 16th, 2 weeks into the month of February, I am doing my January favorites. Sometimes you just don't get things done when you hope to. So I got a couple of new decks in January, and I worked with a couple of old favorites in January, and I have a crystal and a book that I'd like to talk about today. But before I get to that, because it is February 16th, I would like to say a happy birthday to Pamela Coleman Smith. And I would like to honor Pixie for her vast contribution to the tarot world and the tarot community. So honoring Pixie today. That is the Queen of Cups or the Queen of Holy Waters from Robert M. Place's Vampire Tarot. And the whole reason I bought this deck, actually I got it in a trade. I traded for this deck was for this card because I just loved this card, and I still do. The deck is great also, by the way. Okay, so decks. I continue to work with the Morning Calm Oracle by Sayo Kelleher. I really like this oracle a lot. It's wonderful, and I urge you to check it out. Maybe look at some videos online to see if it's what you might like. But it is just a lovely deck. It's calming and gentle, but it also has cards that pack a punch. And it really has a true and clear voice. These are some cards that I pulled in January. So this is Call to Prayer. I love this. We have a crone card with a crone, Loving Self. I think this is really good. Stop. So depending on what you were consulting the oracle for, this could really be quite informative. The first card I ever pulled from this deck was this one. You see her beautiful blue hair. Ocean Magic, and I am an ocean-loving woman, and I consider myself, I could never live anywhere not near the ocean, and so when I pulled that card as the first card from the deck, I thought, okay, we're in sync. Sisterhood, I pulled this quite a few times. Divine Love, which I actually had on my altar in February because of Valentine's Day. And then this one, Burn It Down. So this is an example of a card that isn't exactly meek and mild. Anyway, I think you will like this deck. I really like it a lot. As I said, it has a really clear, true voice, and it really gives you good advice and good answers, very clear and very forthright. But also, there's a sweetness to it. So that is a deck that I've been continuing to work with in January and ongoing because I just really like that deck a lot. A deck that came into my collection in January was the Tarot of Mystical Moments. And I am really, really surprised that I like this deck. It isn't necessarily the style of art or deck that I am normally attracted to, and in fact the Oracle of Mystical Moments does nothing for me. I thought after I got this and liked it so much, maybe I should get it, and I watched a couple of walkthroughs on YouTube, but it doesn't attract me. But there's something about this deck that I just really love. It's so whimsical. And again, I feel like I'm getting really interesting and forthright and good readings from it. So you've probably seen it, but let me just show you a few of the cards that I really like. So I love this Emperor, and Katrine Weldstein in this deck has male and female presenting kings and an emperor, which I think is wonderful. Hummingbird is one of my animal allies. This is the Six of Wands. And look at the whimsy in this deck. The Tower. It's really an interesting tower. Here's the King of Swords. So this is one of the male presenting kings. It's just the artwork is just beautiful. Knight of Cups, holding on to an anatomical heart. I'm a star strength, so I always like to check out the star card, and that's a beautiful star card. Oh, so here's the female presenting King of Swords. King of Pentacles, Fool, and the Moon is one of my favorite cards, so I always like to check out the Moon. That's a beautiful Moon card. The Lovers is very whimsical and interesting. And then this Ten of Wands, interesting that she is burdened by all those flowers. That's the burden she's carrying. So I'm liking this deck quite a bit. As I said, it's not usually the style of art I tend to like, or decks that I am attracted to, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm using it pretty regularly, and on into February as well. Another deck that was new to me in January is the Super Lunaris deck. And this is a lovely deck. It's a modern take on Rider-Waite-Smith. And it, can you hear it? Oh, God. I don't know if you can hear it, but it does that swooshing sound, and the cardstock is so lovely. And oh, and the, can you see the, it's got this rose gold edging on it. It's quite lovely. So, this is a deck whose art I seem to be more attracted to, although I'm not a huge collage fan. But I do like modern decks that are realistic and that honor and are representational. So this deck is that. Ages, body types, gender expression, different races, different skin tones, you know, what I'm saying I think I'll speak in the I, what I like to see in a deck, especially when I'm reading for others, for myself as well. But when I'm reading for others, I want people to see themselves reflected in the cards. So here's the Three of Cups. This joyful trio of folks in the ocean. I adore this High Priestess. You can see there's the moon, and she's got the cloak, the blue cloak with the stars. And instead of pillars, we have a birch tree and a dark barked tree, which I think is very creative and lovely. And I love seeing the High Priestess represented by an elder, because that inner knowledge, that inner wisdom, listening to your inner voice, I believe is wise. And wisdom is something that we often accumulate as we age. Here's the Fool, King of Wands, Queen of Swords. I love this Three of Pentacles. It is reminiscent of the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Pamela Coleman Smith version, yet it has a modern twist. The Emperor, I hope you can see this. Yeah, the buck stops here. I love this Emperor. Queen of Cups, another lovely card. And Ten of Wands. Cards that I wasn't so crazy about. And they're fine cards. It's not that I don't like them, but I have criticisms of them. So the first one is the Empress card. Again, beautiful card, nothing wrong with the card. But originally, they changed this at the last minute. And it's like, must we always have the Empress as a pregnant woman with flowers around her? She's a ruler. She reigns. She's powerful. I mean, being pregnant and giving birth to a baby takes power, doesn't it? I get that. But not everyone can relate to that. I just feel like it excludes people. And I know it doesn't have to necessarily be taken literally, but I prefer their original take on this card. The King of Cups, beautiful card, but I just feel like he's so young, and I prefer to see kings and queens slightly older. Just me. Another lovely card, but it's the Chariot, and I feel like so many times when decks include a differently abled person in a wheelchair, they stick it on the Chariot. So I guess I just feel like it's kind of cliched now, and maybe we could have thought about putting that on another card. So again, beautiful cards, nothing wrong with them, just my thoughts on them. So I was really surprised when I got to the end of January and I reflected back on the decks that I used the most. And the deck that I used the most by far in January was my old friend, the Lightseers. And I do like this deck quite a bit. I love the artwork. Again, it's representational. It's reflective of the people that I see around me in my everyday life. And I like using it, especially when I'm reading for others, you know, for myself as well. But it is representational. It's a modern Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I love the Six of Swords. It's one of my favorite minors, so I always check that out, and I think this is a particularly lovely Six of Swords. Lovely death card. Chrisanne Donnelly, who's the creator, calls it Death Rebirth. This is one of the best emperors ever. I'm an Aries, and I'm not an emperor person. I'm not about structure and foundation and all that good stuff that the Emperor's about, but look at this. I love it. Holding a chess piece with sort of the representation of Aries in the background, and it looks like his chair is the planet Mars. So, love that. Chrisanne mixes up the gender. She doesn't just have male presenting folks on the like the knights, for example. I think this might be my most favorite ever Queen of Pentacles. Look at that. Look at I mean, so earthy, so calm and grounded, and I just think that card is gorgeous. So Queen of Swords, the King of Pentacles. I love her court cards in this deck. Apparently, because I pulled out all court cards. Queen of Wands, Knight of Cups, and Ten of Wands. So we had the Ten of Wands. I pulled out the Ten of Wands in all three of these decks, not purposefully, but here we have her animal companion carrying most of the burden. So I used that deck a lot last month, and it's really funny because I always consider that deck to be sort of a summary deck. I think it's because I got it in July, and so something about the colors and something about the energy of that deck, I don't really consider it to be a wintry deck. I don't normally use it in the winter, but for some reason in January I used it like every day almost, or close to it. I did sort of a year ahead spread with my daughter on New Year's Day, and she devised the spread, and it had like, I don't know, 45 cards or something. It was nuts. We used 4 or 5 different decks, and it was crazy. But I pulled from Angels and Ancestors for the Wheel of the Year. So for the major holidays from the Wheel of the Year, I pulled 1 card. So for Winter Solstice to Imbolc, I had the High Priestess. And then I used the Gaian Tarot for my cards for the months. And for January, I got the High Priestess. So January had double High Priestess vibes for me. And I thought that was kind of appropriate because it's a very yin month. It's constricting. It's cold. It's oftentimes wet with snow and sleet and so forth. I retreat even when there's not a pandemic. I tend to stay home and play with my cards and read books and cook and just do contemplative activities as opposed to the expansiveness of of December even, and then as we get in towards the warmer months later in the year. So those were my cards, and then the book. I'm sanguine temperament, and I'm an Aries. Aries tend to be jack of all trades, master of none. I'm ashamed to say. And I seem to be that way with books. I have a stack of to be read or in the midst of reading books that has about 20 books in it. So I decided in January, oh my gosh, would you just finish a book? So I picked this book. I got it at the beginning of January, and I decided, this is the book I'm going to work on for January. Well, I only got halfway through. But I am continuing working on it in February, and I have to say, it's a really deep book, and I have so many notes and journaling things, and it's making me it's giving me spread ideas, and so it's something that I'm really working on and really enjoying, and I don't mind that I'm taking my time. I do hope when I do my February favorites, I can report that I have finished this book. I highly recommend it. It's by Rachel Pollack, one of the tarot grandmasters, one of the legends of tarot, a brilliant woman, a wonderful tarotist, and a deep thinker. And I really recommend this book. It's not card meanings. It's really thinking about working with the tarot and asking the tarot philosophical, esoteric types of questions. And it actually inspired me to develop a spread that I'm using now at the beginning of the month, which I'll talk about when I do my February favorites. And so this is a quote from Rachel. When we consider that people very often read the cards during times of fear, pain, or anxiety, we can see the tarot as a guide through the unknown and fearful territory. And so she calls these wisdom readings, when we kind of ask the tarot deeper, more philosophical questions, not like, how will my day unfold today? Nothing wrong with that. I do that myself almost every day, but I'm really enjoying her ideas on, how to look at the tarot and use it more deeply. One last thing, and that is the crystal that I used in January. I got this in January from Patrick Fogarty, The Living Wheel, and he's the creator of the Living Wheel astrology cards. He has lovely crystal sales, usually Sunday afternoons, live on Instagram, and they're a whole lot of fun. And he has beautiful, high-quality, ethically sourced crystals. And lapis is the one I'm using used in January. And I think of lapis, that blue color, and the night sky. So I think of it as a throat chakra stone to help you speak your truth. It's anti-inflammatory, it's cooling, calming. So it helps you speak your truth, but in an anti-inflammatory way. So those are my January favorites. Comment if you like on any of them, input on any of these things, and I hope that you continue to be well and stay safe, and continue to do your esoteric studies and work with tarot, and let's honor Pixie today. Blessed be.